Good evening. Welcome all to another episode of the greatest book review club podcast there's ever been in any whatever anywhere.
Do you want to start that again?
Yeah, maybe we should. So, listen, if you're listening on the podcast, we are watching live. You've heard my voice first, which means one thing: it's going to be a great book tonight because I only pick great books. No. Okay, come on, guys. And my name is Phil. As per usual, I am joined by my buddies here. I've got Scott from Scott Shelf
Shemai, everyone. How you doing? Thanks for joining.
and Shane from Dawn of Comics.
Ahoy, hoy.
I almost got you wrong. Just literally said your name, Dawn of Cosmic. I got really confused there for a second. So thanks for joining us live tonight. The folks are in the chat. Again, if you're listening to the podcast, on this episode, we are going to be discussing and reviewing the fantastic Cosmic Ghost Rider from 2018. This was written by Donny Cates, art by Dylan Burnett, and colours by Antonio Fabella. So yeah, that is what we are reading tonight. And 10 out of 10 all around, I assume, tonight, of course.
Yeah, cool. Let's go. Done.
Yeah.
Quick show.
Before we go into synopsis and see what we thought about the book, we'll just check out who is in the chat tonight. So the Funky Gibbons is in Heidi Ho. Blue Sonic is keeping up his streak, even and all. Triple G Comics is asking, is this where all the cool kids hang out? Yes. This is where all the cool kids hang out. As Blue Sonic says, that's why we're here. Cable's Lost Son. Hi guys, how are you all doing?
Thank you for joining.
I think that is up who's new. And we have Connie. Hi-oh. And Comics versus the World. Ethan, all looking forward to watching this one back tomorrow. Looking forward to you watching this one back as well. And I think we're all kind of up to date. And Chris from Off My Shells has jumped in as well with a hey. Just to let everyone else know who you are in the chat tonight, that we will be selecting the herd's choice. So whatever book we will be reading this for next week, you guys decide. So get your thinking caps on. At the end of the show, we'll just let you know when to start listing your books. We'll do the little spinny wheel thing, and then we'll pick a book, hopefully a good one.
And can I say, next Wednesday is my birthday, so please make it a good one.
No pressure. No pressure.
To be fair, even if it wasn't your birthday, please make it a good one. We don't need... Scott's only picks bad books on this podcast.
That's true.
Sorry, Scott. We love you.
That's right. It's fine. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Andy from Perpetual Comics has jumped in. Ethan Nerd Herd.
Hi, mate.
So yeah, as I mentioned, we are reading The Cosmic Ghost Rider. And I suppose the synopsis for the book is really simple and straightforward. It's grand. There's no time travel whatsoever. Frank Castle, the Punisher, he dies. He then makes a deal with Mephisto the Devil, becomes the Ghost Rider. He then makes a deal with Galactus to get the power Cosmic, becomes the Cosmic Ghost Rider. He then dies at the hands of Thanos, goes to Valhalla, and Valhalla and Odin and everyone else just can't stick him. He doesn't like it. He feels unfair that he's in heaven, given all the things he's done. So he agrees to be sent back at a time of his choosing, and he chooses to go back at a time when Thanos was a baby, with the idea that he could bring an end to, to not allow all that misery that Thanos brought upon everybody and kill baby Thanos. So none of that stuff would happen. But of course, not all goes to plan, and he decides not to kill him because he can't kill a baby. And he decides to raise him as one of his own and see if he can maybe change his ways. But of course, there are drastic and traumatic consequences to those actions as well. So that's the synopsis. Shall we get stuck into this?
100%.
Scott, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, of course. So this, the way you kind of explained the synopsis is how I was trying to explain what was happening in this book to a guy I work with. I told him we were talking about this book today, and he was like, "What happens? Tell me." And I told him, and reading this book is mental.
Yeah.
trying to describe this book to someone makes it sound even more mental and crazier than it actually is. I think especially the part where Cable and the Guardians of the Galaxy comes in with the kind of like merged, characters, and then the whole, what was it, side step or step from one or whatever it was, or slide from one, and when he just kept bringing in more and more Avengers and stuff from the future to try and kill him. It was just all a bit mental, wasn't it? And then obviously the fact that anyone thought to go, let's center a story around baby Thanos. It just sounds insane. But the art, I was a big fan of it. It reminded me of Daniel Warren Johnson, the guy who did Beta Ray Bill. He's done Murder Falcon, and he's done plenty of other stuff I can't think of right now. And I was getting that kind of vibe, and I'm a big fan of his art anyway. So to see this, I know it wasn't Daniel Warren Johnson doing it, but it was very pleasing for me to look at and to read.
Yeah, it's like we had discussed during the week about Daniel Warren Johnson, and the reason why it was brought up is because I too have the same vibes from this. This is definitely the same vibes as Daniel Warren Johnson, and I thought it was terrific.
The only thing about that was I was expecting the level of detail that we see on the covers, and then we get what we get in the book. Not that I'm complaining, but I was a bit surprised.
Do you mean as in like some of the art could be a bit rushed, maybe, like a bit?
Well, no, they're just completely different styles, aren't they? So, you see the cover, and it's lovely, it's crisp, it's really defined, loads of detail, and it's beautiful. And then we get into the book, and then we see what we see in the book. And I'm not disappointed by it. I did enjoy it, but it was okay, I'm reading this kind of art,
I just want to refer to a comment though, because Scott did say that this book was mental, and as Andy from Perpetual said, it is no Nameless. He read Nameless from last week. Nameless was mental. This was just good fun, but mental. But fun.
Yeah. I get that. I can agree with that.
Oh, this was just stupid, ridiculous, over the top, fun. Yeah, I think fun is the only word you could, because it's a nothing story, is it? I mean, it circles right round and everything goes back to normal at the end. So it's just a pointless fun romp. It's Deadpool.
A romp, I like that. It's a good way to describe it. A pointless fun romp.
But yeah, he's Deadpool in this book. From the way he talks to the way he acts to the way he fights. It's just I'm really surprised you like this and you don't like Deadpool, because this is what future Deadpool books are like.
I haven't read them yet, have I?
No, Phil really hated Deadpool, yet he likes this, which is just Deadpool in space with Ghost Rider Silver Surfer powers.
In my defense of Deadpool, I've only really read Deadpool, apart from the one we covered in the Nerd Herd, I've only ever read Deadpool in other books and haven't liked his cameo roles as such. But whenever this character first came out, like that, this was the one that I had just started collecting single issues, and I just started discovering Donny Cates, and I was all in this. So obviously reading the kind of the run from the start and the character from the start, I was all in. So maybe if Deadpool had been around, or I had been around reading comics when Deadpool came out, it might have been the same. But the Cosmic Ghost Rider would kick Deadpool's ass.
Oh, absolutely. But Deadpool would just come back again and again and again. So it would be an endless cycle.
And I would read that.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, I really like the character of Punisher, Ghost Rider / Silver Surfer. I mean, what's not to like? His three awesome characters, Hulk word smashed into one. It's great.
I was definitely a big fan of that. As a combination, it was really cool.
I love the red chain. I love when he had baby Thanos strapped to him in the little baby harness and he's riding his bike. I thought that was fantastic. And he had him chained to him in the bar so he couldn't wander off. I thought that was adorable. Art is absolutely atrocious. It's disgusting. I mean, this art should never be seen by a human being, but the story is so much fun.
Yeah. I just want to refer to a comment from Off My Shelves. He did say it was a proper cosmic caper fun of ridiculousness. I read it in the Thanos oversized hardcover, and the Thanos Wins prequel really adds to the story. And when I was reading this, having read it before, having read Thanos Wins, I was thinking, have I dropped the ball here? Should I have picked Thanos Wins first? Because Thanos Wins is the story where the Cosmic Ghost Rider is born, essentially. And I was worried about you guys thinking, what is this rubbish? Who is this person? Makes no sense.
But then I think Donny Cates really did a good job with the first issue of this, where they kind of do the first 3 pages. It was like 4 panels on each page, and it was like kind of like a previously on, wasn't it? And I took a screenshot here, and here it is. And yeah, so this was the second and third page of it all. So for me, never having read, Thanos Wins or knowing anything at all about this was a really good way of bringing me up to speed in 3 pages. So I was really grateful for that, and it was done in a really good way.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I missed out on anything. I kind of doubt that story would be half as fun as this, because this is just crazy over the top fun.
Yeah, Thanos Wins is a more serious book, I suppose, but it's still really, really good. And I'd advise, if you want to read it one day yourself, do it. But it's
reading
not
that first might change my score on this, because if I'm reading that and it's all serious and dark and I'm really into it, and then I get this slapstick version for volume 2, I might be like, oh.
It still has some slapstick, but not. Again, there's more dire consequences, I suppose, in Thanos Wins book than there is on this. But yeah, I mean, this book had baby Thanos
getting punched in the face.
Oh, God.
The funny thing is, as well, I remember at the time, because this came out before Endgame, Avengers Endgame came out, and those guys in the cinema who think they really know it all, those were snobby nerds, know all the characters and all the backstories and all. I hate those guys, but for 1 second, I was that guy in the cinema. And I whenever I think it was Rhodey, the War Machine, had mentioned going back in time and killing baby Thanos, the end, the whole thing. I remember I turned around to my wife and I gave her a wee nudge. I got that from Cosmic Ghost Rider. And she looks at me, smiling and nodding. And yeah, she has no idea what I'm talking about, no idea who that
Moves
is.
over 1 seat away from you to pretend she's not with you.
I don't know this guy.
Yeah. And obviously they use proper logic to determine timelines and stuff like that in Endgame. I mean,
Logic.
Yeah, whereas here there's no real logic. It's just
because I did think if Odin offers you a chance to go to any when you want, why wouldn't you just go back to before your family were murdered and just save them? I feel like he went back to do something that he would still bitch and moan that his life sucked, when he could have just gone back and changed his life.
Yes, but
right?
He went
but then
back.
He wouldn't have the story we had.
Plus, he went further back. He went back hundreds of whatever before Thanos.
Yeah, but did he think that wouldn't kill his wife? Because Thanos didn't kill his wife.
No, but he's still in that same timeline. So whatever many years ahead his family get killed, he will be there as the Cosmic Ghost Rider. As if you read it along the future Cosmic Ghost Rider stories, he then comes up the time up to the present day. Can't tell you what happens, of course, no spoilers here, but he is in the same timeline. But I know what you're saying, he should have gone right back to that moment and just stop all the nonsense. But the way Thanos Wins goes, essentially Thanos kills everybody, and that's why he goes crazy and as the Cosmic Ghost Rider, because there's nobody on Earth. So he's just driving around Earth for millennium with nothing to do, no one to talk to, and goes crazy. And that's why you get this kind of difference between Frank Castle, who's a soldier and a kind of cool, calculated, cold-hearted killer, to this slapstick type of character, because he goes mental, because he's no one to talk to for millions of years.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe that bit should have been on the previously on panels.
Yeah, it was just not on the page you put, because there was a third page.
But the kind of description you were.
Oh yeah, okay.
The kind of snapping and having no one to talk to, and just because I was wondering, because Frank Castle, the Punisher as a character, is very serious, very dark, very motivated person, and And then, yeah, we do get a Deadpool-esque kind of personality going on. Like, I enjoyed it. A lot of swearing, which was, it was a bit of a laugh, and the stuff they were coming up with was funny. But because I knew this was Frank Castle, I was like, why isn't he serious? But now that you've said that, clears it up for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think because over the last year, well, not even like the last year, 2 years, maybe more, I tend to pick fights with people who diss the book. Like I'm not defensive of this book, and one of the main gripes people do have is that this isn't Frank Castle, that's not the Punisher. He's too comedic. It's like, yeah, but he goes insane. Like, you're missing a crucial part of this character development. He's goes completely insane. That's why we get what we get.
But then it stops being the character of the Punisher altogether, doesn't it? So if you wanted to create this version of this character, why did he have to be the Punisher? Why couldn't he have been a new character with Ghost Rider's power and Silver Surfer's power? Because the Punisher part doesn't really add anything to it.
Yeah, but
if you're not going to have that series. Well, yeah, exactly. So he doesn't need to be in the trio.
Yeah.
Like, you added that just for an extra.
I mean, I think it's one of those things that you take things too seriously. This is just a good bit of fun. And to touch on the Deadpool thing as well, the Deadpool comparison, is that we all know and agree that Deadpool was completely milked, because his popularity kind of dictated, we'll put Deadpool in everything, we'll do loads of Deadpool books, we'll do all these movies and blah, 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 to the point where it just, people got bored of it. I think, Shane, you were one of those as well, where with this character, I think the worry was going to be the same, that they were going to put this in everything and then ruin it.
Yeah.
But they've stopped. There's not, they've just done it. They've done a few different books and then they've stopped completely.
So does he still exist, or has he gone back to being?
He still exists, please. He's not relevant. There's no book. He's appeared in the odd little thing himself, but nothing noteworthy. An actual fun fact with Donny Cates, he didn't mean for this to be a big character. He couldn't help it. He wanted to do this kind of like silly nonsense idea. And I mean, even if you look at the character design, they're taking the piss a wee bit because, I think it was Todd McFarlane says kids love chains, So you look at this character, they've got the big kind of Legion of Doom shoulder pads, you've got the big kind of like chains around them and stuff. Like, that's all just a bit of fun for them. And they didn't mean for this character to take off as it did. But people were hooked on him, and I was one of them.
I can see why he's really fun, but I like that kind of thing because I was a Deadpool fan, so I could see myself if he stays like this. Like, if he's too serious, I don't know if I would enjoy him. But as this version, so much fun to read.
But with
like when he shows up, much different art, any art. But stick figures. I'll take stick figures over this. This was dreadful. Did you see the faces? Oh,
yeah, mate, I really didn't mind it. I really didn't mind this at all.
I think it's suited.
Don't read Peter Ray Bill. Don't read that.
Yeah, I think it suited the aesthetic. I think it was. The problems I do have some problems with the art, and it is some of the faces. Plus, all the faces at times they all seem really long, like stretched out, and even like the Ghost Rider's body at times he has this big trunk of a body and then little skinny legs and skinny arms. And it didn't look right at times, but I could see past that, and I was happy with that. I just want to catch up on some comments, if that's all right, just because I've completely let it run away from me. Scott was getting a bit of stick here, Connie was saying this is definitely easier to follow than Nameless. It definitely was.
Why is that me getting stick? We all read the book, like, all because I chose it.
Yeah, we had to read the book. We all had to read the book. Triple G Comics, Pointless Fun Romp was his nickname at school.
Nice.
Well,
cheers for that.
Where are we? And they're just agreeing amongst themselves that Thanos wins 13-18, sets up the miniseries. And Connie, I really like Baby Thanos, the bit where he's holding the pint and goes yucky. They tell me more about murder. Actually, made me laugh.
That was good. Now, what is this murder you speak of? Yeah.
I think we're up to date. We're going to another one here. I think it was just for a fun factor, as it was a mystery for a bit of who he was, and when he was revealed after I think it was just for a fun factor. as it was a mystery for a bit who he was. Then he was revealed. If the reveal was a new character, it wouldn't have impacted as much as, oh my god, it's Frank Castle. And I suppose that's right, because the first few issues of Thanos Wins, you don't know it's Frank Castle.
Right.
You just think, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And this is going to come up, and it's going to come up, we know it is. Thanos turning up in the Punisher shirt, showing him the future was great. Hello, Dad. And that brings us on brilliantly to our pages.
Let's go ahead.
And we will start with Shane, because Shane, you did pick this.
Of course. What other page was I going to pick? Thanos rocking up, dressed as Punisher, going, hello, Dad. It's like, oh, come on now.
Yeah.
See, as much as I dislike the art in this book, Thanos was done well, and so was Cosmic Ghost Rider when he was in, like, when he had the helmet on and stuff, it was fine. But Thanos' face isn't terrible. It's the only face in the book that isn't terrible. All the humans, absolutely atrocious.
It's probably not that hard to draw a purple oval with a chin.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's like 70% chin, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like 30% face.
Or as Star-Lord says, that ball sack of a chin.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how cool does he look? Like, he's even got the white gloves on. Like, it's a proper retro Punisher. It's fantastic.
It's one of those ones that if no one had picked this page, I was always going to pick it, because it had to be included tonight, because it's fantastic. And this was a real laugh out loud moment for me. I don't know about you guys. When you turn that page and you just see him, it's like, holy shit. It's hilarious. And it makes complete sense. I mean, he's raised him. You know, he raised baby Thanos. This is obviously a future Thanos. And he's raised him. He's going to be like this. It was great. Loved it.
It was awesome. Yeah. It was a surprise, but it was, I was surprised, but when you see it, you're like, I get that, right? This makes sense, but it was still really cool to see Thanos in the Punisher getup, It was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. For everyone on the podcast, Phil is showing us his Thanos. What Earth is that? 18138 pop, where Thanos is wearing the Punisher outfit. Yeah, that's awesome, mate.
Yeah.
It had to make an appearance.
And Frank did raise him, right? I mean, the world was perfect. He did a really good job.
Only
That's the world I want to live in.
Only the people who
are good. Yeah, that's exactly how the world should
follow
work.
the rules. Yeah, in terms of
100%. You follow the rules, you get to live in paradise. You don't, you live in the slums. That's exactly how the world should work.
They were being punished.
Yeah,
but he wasn't killing them. They could choose to be good. They chose to live down there. He said they chose not to be good and live in the paradise that he had created. So there you go. That's
only
he's a good guy.
Would say with a tyrannical.
No, I'm always Team Thanos. Even the snap, he wasn't a bad guy. He was just misunderstood.
It's one of those things. It's like where the villains have such a good logic that the good people, us as the readers and whatever, just go, you know what? Maybe he's got a little bit of a point. Maybe just a little bit of a point, and I get that. So yeah,
but that's what makes Thanos a likable villain in terms of like that's why I want people to like him. Yeah, because the best villains do tend to have a logical kind of approach or ethos, and like, well, if there's half the people in the world, no one's going to starve, for example.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, and that's why they are as popular as they are. With 3 more pages that I got, we'll do mine and then Scott's and then your action page at the end.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, so I picked this. Again, there's a lot going on in this page, but there was a lot going on in this book, and this is one of the scenes where Cable kept coming back with a new team every time to try and take down the Cosmic Ghost Rider, and nobody could manage it. And obviously have all the characters. You've got Blade, you've got the Vision, you've got Hulk in the background, Captain America. But one thing I love, there's quite a few things I love about this page, but it's the chain that's going around in the big kind of loop. But he just seems to love lopping off people's heads.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of headless heroes in this scene. And I thought it was so cool. The use of colour is cool. Yes, it's crazy and bonkers. There's so much going on to the point where they can't put loads of detail in the characters. if you know what I mean. Like they're not overly detailed or they're
Yeah,
shaped
yeah.
slightly weird, but I think it really works really well. And of course, you have the 3 panels where baby Thanos is seeing everything,
Yeah.
and he is learning. This is a first-hand education on how to murder people. So he is watching what a murder is and how to do it effectively. But the thing is, we make comparisons with Deadpool. Deadpool's in the bottom corner, the
Yeah.
bottom
I
left-hand corner.
I didn't notice that when I was reading. I just saw him just when you
Yeah.
put that up.
But
I didn't
he's
notice it the first time.
he's not involved. He's just, I don't know if he's looking up or down, but it's a weird
He's like
angle for
doing.
him.
I think he's taking a selfie. I think because he's doing the 2-finger thing. I think
That's
he's
what I
probably.
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. Is it a selfie with the peace, the peace sign? But obviously he's
Yeah.
not involved in the book, so that's like a little nod. And obviously everyone's going to compare the Cosmic Ghost Rider to Deadpool, and it's a little nod to that. I thought was great.
I tell you
What
what I
I
noticed as well. In the top right, there's 2 Captain Americas. There's the original with the old shield and the new one with the round shield. But they came from the future, so how is there 2?
Oh,
A wizard did it.
That's probably one of the smaller things to be asking about.
yeah,
The mentalness
yeah.
of this book. But what I really liked with this page is how, well, this is how I took it, was the chain was kind of, the panel lines, you know what I mean? The borders of the panels. It was that what was splitting up this page, because obviously you've got like 4 or 5 Ghost Riders here. So it's using the explosions and the oranges and the blues as colors to separate it, and then you've got the chain as well to follow the kind of story of this page, like the order of which he fights all these people. But
Yeah.
the one thing I wasn't happy about with this was, it was really cool when you have the original team at the beginning of this with, you had Cable, Captain Marvel, who was actually Kamala Khan, you had Iron Groot, you had Juggerduck, and you had Jubilee as well. And they were all kind of, apart from Jubilee and Cable, all the others were kind of cool, kind of combinations of characters, weren't they? They were merged, amalgamations of characters. But it didn't happen after that team. They just went to normal heroes that we all know who they are. And I was hoping that, when they did bring more, I was like, oh, are these going to be combinations of people? But they weren't. And that let me down a little bit. But this is still a really cool page to look at.
If I hadn't thought about that, obviously I loved the Juggerduck, as you did, Scott, because that is your name for tonight's show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't really thought about the kind of the combinations. But saying that, like some of the costume designs are slightly different. So maybe, there are some characters in there that like even like Spider-Man looks really different for some reason. I don't know why. His costume looks different. So
Yeah.
there's possibly there's maybe different characters in amongst there, but they're just unexplained.
That Spider-Man looks like a female, actually.
That's what I was going to say.
That's what I was thinking, because obviously the kind of the outline of the kind of
The blue boobs.
yeah.
You can say boobs. It's not a naughty word.
I don't want to offend anybody. Yeah, that was my page. I'll run on to Scott's before I run away with the comments again. Scott?
So this was in issue 5. This is in the final issue where where Ghost Rider and Thanos is fighting in this punishment city, and for me this had everything that I was liking about this book in terms of the art, and as a big anime fan, this gave me massive anime vibes, especially with that top panel as well, with the kind of, I don't know, Kamehameha style move there, just blowing Thanos away, and is just absolutely awesome. The kind of blurred lines, just to show how much movement and stuff there is. It's just such a cool and active page. I just loved it.
I actually really like the bottom panel, and I don't know why it's better for me. It's just the lines that were used, and it's actually the city block or the downtown or whatever, and you see the buildings kind of watching the crumbling and this big boom as well. It's really cool. Yeah.
The third panel in the middle, though, kind of makes him look like a clown.
Yeah, it reminds me of
Yeah.
the clowns from Nameless from last week, just a different color. They were blue last week, weren't they?
Yeah, but yeah, great page.
So Scott, I want you to talk about this page while I just check the comments here
Okay.
before I know one.
So yeah, this was something else I wanted to talk about with the art as well. Just a little example of the kind of actions and the movements in the story. This was from the first issue, like one of the first. I think it was like the 5th or 6th page, and I just liked how the inclusion of all these lines just to show movement. And it's a really simple thing, but it's something that I don't really see in many books that I read, and just to have that kind of it's a simple thing, just a line or something to show the direction of something, and it's so simple, but for me it really helped me follow the movement of what was going on.
I think we've complained a few times about the lack of movement in comic books, haven't we? Like, I mean, obviously, I know it's a still page. I'm not, but you can like this. You can show movement with just a few lines.
Yeah,
it just takes away the static look of it so quickly.
And like that first panel, like the guy's face is properly crunched up as well.
Yeah,
like he's got some actual broken bones in there somewhere. I'm sure. That's class. I'd stand up.
Looks like Street Fighter. That first panel really just reminds me of like Guy all fighting.
Just allow me to catch up with the comments. We have Sean from Panels and a Half Pint has weighed in. Evening peeps.
Hey bud.
Tottenham Gaming has also jumped in. Should have had Black Widow attack him with her tasers. Or are we? Blue Sonic did refer to a great moment in the story, which I didn't see until now. I'm assuming it was the Punisher suit.
Yeah.
I can one can assume that. And Cable's Lost Son, heroes are always made by a good villain. And that's true. Without a good villain, you don't have a good story.
Yep.
And Connie is saying Kamala Khan has the round shield in this book, does she not? So maybe Cap has the old shield. Yeah, because Kamala Khan does have the round one.
That's what I thought. But if you zoom into that panel, that's a guy holding the shield getting his head decapitated. So I was like, there's two Captain Americas.
I suppose Cable did go back quite a few times, get a different team, and who knows what timeline. Yeah, possibly.
Yep.
That's not explained, so we don't really need to.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
You just go time travel.
Yeah.
Time travel.
Interpretation. Cable's Lost Son. He read Secret Wars this week because of your first video and the show was stolen by Doom. We are sorry. The less said about Secret Wars, the better, because this is not Secret Wars. This is a million times better than Secret Wars.
I'm assuming we're moving on to the writing now a bit more, and the fact that you've mentioned time travel has allowed me to bring up Philip's main gripe with stories like this, and it's the fact that he doesn't like time travel. He's mentioned it with God Butcher, he's mentioned it with God Bomb, he's mentioned it with Dave 2, and then when I finished his story, I messaged him on our WhatsApp group, and I was like, I thought you didn't like time travel, mate. And he was like, yeah, but I like this time travel. No, you either like it or you lump it, okay? So, what is it?
I knew this would come up. Even when I was reading this book, there's time travel here. Scott and Shane's going to mention this, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, I love Back to the Future. It's one of my movies. That's one of my movies that defines me. And time travel's done really well or really poorly where I lose interest. And here it's done because it's a fun book as well. It's not a serious book. And in all fairness, there's not a lot of time travel. He doesn't time travel himself. You know, he doesn't jump in a DeLorean or
Odin sends him back in time.
No, Odin sends him back to a particular point in time. And then after that, the older Thanos comes back in time to retrieve him, I suppose.
Yeah.
But he's not traveling through time. It's not the same.
Well, he uses the device at the end to go back and put Thanos back.
Yes, but that's the correct wrong. Yeah, but it's not dominated by time travel. You know,
the whole third issue is just people jumping from the future to come back and fight him.
Okay, I am willing to accept and change my mind, and I changed my mind from today. I love time travel, and this book does it brilliantly. I
I
love
can't wait
time
to bring
travel.
this up in the future when you say you don't like time travel
But
in
then
another book.
I'll just change my mind again. Depends on the book.
Okay, right.
But the thing about time, I mean, obviously, it doesn't really make sense in terms of, and this is one thing I liked about it, that it doesn't have like a splinter effect. Like if you change something in time, here's a different timeline. Remember, like the movie Endgame, all these different
No.
timelines, whatever else. It seems to kind of just end. Like I think,
I think
I
it
can't
had
remember.
always happened.
Yes, but there was one scene, and they're in a world, and was it? He killed. I can't remember what it was at the minute, but he was leaving with baby Thanos, and baby Thanos says, "Does this mean this timeline's going to end and they'll all die or fade away?" He says, "Yes, but they'll do so with hope." In other words, this timeline will die once we leave here. So I like the idea. There's nothing left behind. You know, it's happened. There's nothing going to mess up. We're going to have different types of characters and whatever else, and
Yeah.
obviously then he goes back in time and puts Thanos back in the crib. So it's like it never happened. And it's done.
Yeah,
Settled.
because with that though, they didn't just like go full circle and end the story. They had Death show up and be like, "Yeah, thanks for teaching him how to kill. I needed someone to teach him." So that's implied that he did it the entire time. It's implied that
Oh yeah, this is
even
true.
in his timeline, he went back and he's the one that trained Thanos.
Yeah. Thanks for showing him how to kill. You're right. You're
Yeah.
obviously could have been. And that makes sense. But one thing I'll say about Death, I was disappointed. Like, has Death ever spoken before? I've always only
Yeah.
ever known Death not to speak.
Yeah, she
Like,
spoke in Secret Wars 2.
oh, did she? I can't remember. I blanked that out
Yeah.
of my mind.
Block that one out, yeah.
Yeah. But it's like I always remember like Infinity Gauntlet, like the original Jim Starlin book. I never knew that Death spoke. She just kind of stood there with like a stern look at her face, and I can't remember that. But it's fine. It's no big deal. I still love the book, but it's just one of the things I thought about. I need to bring this up, Scott. Liam, your best friend. I kind of agree with Phil. That's what he
That's
said.
okay. Like, he is allowed an opinion that's not the same as mine.
Is he though?
You're right. No, Liam, you take that back.
Kind of agree with Phil in the sense that time travel stories are the best when the science isn't taken too seriously and they just have fun with it. And that's what this is. And it's the same thing with Back to the Future. Like, it doesn't have to make sense or fall in a timeline. Whereas Endgame, I think, went a bit too far to try and, as we talked about earlier on, apply logic to time travel.
And then threw out the window at the end when old man Steve shows up. So yeah.
Well, but time travel doesn't happen. If it was a thing, we would all know about it because you come back in time and tell us. See, so it's not a thing. So
But
just
then-
have fun with it.
But then Phil will only like it some other time.
But if you go back in time to tell someone about time travel, then they'll know about time travel, so you won't have to go back and tell them. So then you won't go back and tell them, so then they won't know about time travel. It's called a paradox.
This is why I don't
Alright,
like
okay,
time travel.
moving on.
But yeah, so I did like the fact that all he had to do was go back in time and not mess with Thanos, and Thanos would have been a good little boy. He's the one that turned Thanos into the murdering machine that he is.
It's a really cool thing to think about. That didn't click with me, but now that you said it, it has clicked, and I'm like, yeah, I like this story a little bit more now because of that.
So that kind of makes the Cosmic Ghost Rider as the most kind of like, what's the word? Influential, kind of the most important cog in the entire Marvel, not even the MCU, but let's say Jim Starlin's Infinity Gauntlet story. It's all down to Frank Castle.
Well, Odin, he should have just left him in Valhalla.
Can I also share my love for this character at the time when Endgame came out? Because I remember, and this was never going to happen, but I was like one of those fans really hoping for this to happen. So Frank Castle in the Punisher series in Netflix, I wanted him to be like carted into like surgery, bleeding out or something like this, and then the snap happens, and as he's bleeding out, all his doctors turn to dust.
Ooh.
And he's like then like found vengeance on this, on this whoever's done this type thing, and he obviously dies, he bleeds out, becomes Cosmic Ghost Rider, and then appears in Endgame just to get Thanos. There's a small part of me was thinking that was going to happen, but obviously it didn't happen. I would have loved that.
So who would win then? Cosmic Ghost Rider or Squirrel Girl?
Squirrel Girl. She's unbeatable.
She's unbeatable. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Um, can
I
you?
love Cable's Lost Sons comment. Is he being sarcastic? Ritter does a really good job at not showing Thanos' violence.
No, he doesn't.
Did we read the same book?
He shows him a lot of violence. He just tries to get him to not look.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Don't look.
then-
I'm going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Just don't
Okay.
look at it.
I'll look. Yeah. Can you explain one Ghost Rider thing for me? The penance stare.
Yeah.
I think I understand what that is, but then at the end of this book, he just did penance to kind of destroy Thanos. What does that do? And why is it different to penance stare?
Pass.
Penance
I'm not.
self. Go on.
So I'm not completely au fait with the Ghost Rider, but obviously the penance there is he shows the person everything he's ever done to the point where they feel it themselves. They so they obviously have a lot of regret and remorse and whatever else. But in Thanos Wins, actually, Thanos makes the Cosmic Ghost Rider give him a penance stare every morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
Like he enjoys it.
Nom 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 nom.
Yeah. So that's obviously why at the end of this book he decides that's not a penance stare, it's penance. So I don't know if that's like a
Penance
churchy
is actual
religious
punishment.
thing. Yeah.
Well, penance
so,
is punishment. So
you go.
instead of self-punishing by feeling everything that you've done to others, he projects it at you. So he's the one punishing you instead of yourself.
Right. Okay, cool.
And
Since he's the Punisher who can dish out punishment.
And that's another thing with the timelines. This Thanos is now dead. So it kind of erases that part all entirely. And now we go back to baby Thanos.
There's definitely a lot to think about. This seemed to be a really simple book when we all just initially read it, and now we're talking about it more and more, and then we're all just a bit like, okay,
But it's good though. It's good.
Maybe a bit more did actually happen, or maybe there is some more ramifications and things
I
like that going on.
think we're just looking too deep into this absolutely ridiculous romp of a ride. We're finding meaning where there is none.
Dominic has arrived on time this week. Oh, no, he hasn't.
Never mind.
Dominic book report has failed this week, but thanks for joining us, and be sure to watch the rewind and read this book. It's fantastic. Tom Gaiman is saying Nicolas Cage should be Cosmic Ghost Rider of the MCU, not the Penance Stare. And Connie, the funniest thing is he tells the Watcher to not let the baby watch, and the Watcher's just like, meh. He only watches, that's all he does. He's the Watcher.
I don't know how to not watch. How does one do that?
But is there anything we want to add?
Because when the Watcher shows up and Thanos goes, big head baby.
Yeah.
And he turns around, he's like, what? Oh, it's you. He's like, big head baby.
One other thing I want to bring up, actually, which was hilarious that we haven't touched on. So Galactus plays a big part in this, obviously.
Yeah.
And whenever Cable's coming back and forth from his timeline, he slides by one, which he says he can go back to his timeline, 20 years, research how to beat him and come back and do it again. And at this point, this is where he gets Galactus with the Pym particles. And you have little itty bitty Galactus.
Yeah.
And he then fires him like a cannon and shoots him off into the cosmos somewhere.
That was brilliant. It was a really
Took him
simple
20 years to get some Pym particles.
Well, research as well. You had to, there's not a book about the Cosmic Ghost Rider, I suppose. I
kind of thought he was going to eat him. The way he was holding him, sort of like by the scruff of the neck, I thought he should go, oh.
But what a way to defeat Galactus. It's like no one thought of this before. Just use Pym particles, make them really small, and stand on them.
Yeah. Done.
Yep. And so does that mean that planet's saved? Because he went there to eat it. So or did he just come back when he got embiggened and ate it later on?
Andy from Perpetual Comics has been on Google and went to the Marvel database. The penance stare is inducing self-mortification by imposing negative actions, behavior, and sensation, sins to the pain of others and that individual has ever committed in their lifetime. Straight from the Marvel database.
Sounds deep, man.
It does.
So the more bad things you do, the worse that the pen and stare affect you.
Exactly, unless you're Thanos,
Okay.
where you enjoy it
Yeah.
and have it for breakfast every day.
Great.
So, shall we? We've got still a lot to do here this evening, so shall we move on with final thoughts and scores?
Yeah, 100%.
Scott, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, just add, folks, if you had read along this week, let us know your score in the comments. We will take note of that, add them up, do a little kind of sum of numbers and things, add them to our sum of numbers, and we'll come up with an overall average. How's that sound? So, if you read along,
Sounds all right.
put your score in the comments.
Sounds like something we do every time.
Yeah. Is it new?
Sounds familiar.
I've just thought of it. I'm a mathematician.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, here I go. This was, like Shayna said, a bit of a fun, nonsensical read. It is just a good laugh, and it's a really good introduction to the character for me. I know you've said Cosmic Ghost Rider comes up in Thanos Wins and other stories as well. And I really enjoyed it, and I would be happy to either read more or read stuff with him appearing in it. I did like the art. I am a fan of that kind of Daniel Warren Johnson style. It's like scratchy but clean. I don't know how to explain it, and the colors were really nice and vibrant as well. And I think there was nothing about the art that I didn't enjoy. Story was cool. I've said before, I love time travel, so that's always a big tick in my book, and but I'm never going to change my mind about it, Phil. I'm just going to always stick to loving time travel, and just seeing baby Thanos and just learning that Thanos becomes Thanos because of Cosmic Ghost Rider, and how it all just comes full circle. But then the fact that this story is very self-contained, it starts with him trying to kill baby Thanos, and then it ends with him taking baby Thanos back and kind of shutting that timeline down. So it is a very self-contained story, and for me that's actually probably a bit of a negative, because I do like to see how things like this impact in the future and other stories as well. So taking all of that into consideration, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it 7.5.
Nice. Shane?
So I did write on my notes my final thoughts. I have 4 words that describe this book, and I've got stupid, nonsense, pointless, fun. You've got it's stupid because it's just slapstick from start to finish, which I actually enjoy, I'm not going to lie. Nonsense, time travel. So it's got to be nonsense, isn't it? Pointless because he goes back and just puts everything back to the way it was beforehand, so none of it means anything. But super fun to just watch this character who I haven't read anything about. I mean, I know Punisher, I know Ghost Rider, and I know Silver Surfer, but not as one. It's just so much fun. I forgive the art when the story is like this, when I'm having fun reading it, when I don't want to stop reading and I just sit there and read the book from start to finish. I can forgive the art for the most part. Not fully, like it's getting points taken off because the art is atrocious, but I can forgive it. I can carry on reading. But overall, this is so much fun. And unlike Scott, I do enjoy a book that has a start, middle, and an end and doesn't expect me to read another 50,000 issues. I wasn't lost. I got everything I needed from the first few pages, and at the end I was satisfied that I had read a complete story. The Thanos bit at the end is tacked on, and I felt like that really didn't need to be there. I was quite happy with just the 5 issues. So I have changed my score. Initially I was going to give it a 7, but I'm going to go up to a 7.5 because I really did enjoy it.
Ooh. I love when Shane scores a Marvel book relatively high. I just feel all warm and gooey inside. And to be fair, before I give my score, we will touch on that Thanos Legacy. It's too late to amend your scores now, but it was kind of pointless in this book. It obviously did have its place in the trade paperback, but we never touched on it. So that seemed kind of unimportant, I suppose, to the overall story. But oh well, can't change our scores now. I'm not going to talk about it. So
locked in.
So yeah, I loved this when I first read it. I loved it when I've read it again, and this is the 3rd time I've read it. I love it. There is an element I think you will take more out of this having read Thanos Wins. I definitely think that. But in its own story, as Scott had mentioned, as a start, or sorry, Shane mentioned start, middle, and an end, and that's great. I do have one gripe about what Scott said, having not have any implications of the wider universe. We've discussed this. Thanos is as Thanos because of the Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah, but that's it, isn't it?
That's kind of a big thing.
There's nothing has changed. He's always been like this in older stories and whatever. You can now just read older stories.
But now
and go,
we know it's because of Frank Castle.
We are getting a snippet of history, the biggest part of history, on the biggest, most.
Something has changed. We know that Thanos was not meant to be like this. He was meant to be a good boy.
Yeah,
and Frank Castle ruined him.
Thanos
so
just loved his mummy. It's all, that's the thing. It's all about Thanos' mum, and
where's my mum?
And well, it's because Frank Castle took you away from her. So overall, I mean, the art. I mean, I did get Daniel Warren Johnson vibes, and I love Daniel Warren Johnson's art. I do have a same kind of gripe with Shane with the faces and some of the kind of like lankiness of some of the characters, but it didn't take it away from me in terms of it fit the aesthetic almost of the art of the story, and it is just it's balls to the wall fun, like punching baby Thanos in the face when you don't want to shoot him in the head is just that's just bonkers, but hilarious at the same time, and I loved it. My score may seem quite high, but I don't have too much or any bad things to really say about this, to be brutally honest. So I'm going to go with a 9. 9 out of 10. Whoa. I love it. It's the third time I've read it, and I'll read it again. And I just love the story, love the character. But I'm glad with the character they stopped. Like, they've done a few books, but they're not going to like milk him for everything he's got and make him irrelevant and boring. They're keeping him as he is, and he'll make a comeback at one point, I'm sure. And hopefully Donny Cates does it. But this is the book that whenever it's coming out in weekly release or monthly releases, I had just started collecting single issues. And it's one of the books that kept me collecting single issues. Like when it wasn't sure if I wanted to do this type thing, this is the book I collected and loved it and got me sucked in, hooked in. So yeah, 9 out of 10 from me. Okay, folks, I think all the scores are in. I'm going to go through them here. So Connie is going to give it an 8. Just give an 8. No explanation how good it was. Just give it an 8. Whereas Off My Shelves, it was a one sitting fun read for me. He gives it an 8. And yeah, fun. Andy has given it a cosmic 7.
Ooh, is that any different to a regular 7?
Yeah, it's got cosmic
It's 7
powers.
in space.
It travels in time and then comes back again like it's never happened.
Yeah, and that has no implication to the future of anything.
Cable's Lost Son, a 9 for me. Fun, easy to read, and love the characters. And Blue Sonic, who also has the omnibus like myself. I really enjoy this. I read it a couple of years ago, and the story has stuck with me since then. I liked it that much. I picked up the omnibus, and it's 8.5 from him. So I think that's all we have. So with Connie's 8, Chris's 8, Andy's 7, Cable Lost Son's 9, and Blue Sonic's 8.5. That gives the herd's viewers average of 8.1. So add that to my 9, Scott's 7.5, and Shane's 7.5 gives us an overall average of 8 out of 10. Wow. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm so happy. I was so worried about this book. Really worried. So,
did you think we were going to rip into it?
I thought you would, to be honest. It's like you're anti-Marvel bias. But,
I'm anti-bad comic books. I'm not anti-Marvel.
So, folks, whilst we talk amongst ourselves for a few minutes, this is your time now to get your choices in to what we're going to read next week. And we'll do a little spinny wheel thing. And if your book gets picked, we will then send you some swag. Shane's got a model for us, and so Scott. I may as well join in too. So yeah, get your choices in. Let us know what we're reading next week. Whatever you want. Horror, romance.
Remember, it's my birthday next Wednesday. Like, it's actually my birthday on Wednesday. So please let me talk about something good on my birthday.
Yeah. Harley Quinn related, whatever.
Marvel it is.
Yeah.
Secret Wars 3.
Thanos wins. That'll be good. But yeah, keep your choices in, and we'll just talk amongst ourselves for a minute. See how are things. Good, great book. I was worried about this book because with it being Marvel, with it being a kind of playing Deadpool, this is why I was worried about Shane, because he obviously was a Deadpool fan, that you wouldn't accept this as a as a good book. But then there was part of me a few months back whenever I picked this, Shane did say that you were worried about this yourself, about enjoying this book. And I knew straight from the end, because you're always one of those ones that if you have high expectations and the book doesn't deliver, you'll mark it down. Where I thought he has no expectations of how good this is going to be. There's only one way this is going to go.
Yeah,
so
I
really
went in completely blind, had no idea about the character, and that's why I enjoyed it so much, I suppose.
Yeah.
But never know, I might really enjoy like the prequel story. I might like the darker, more serious tone to him.
He doesn't have a darker. He has the same kind of slapstick humor, but it's just the story overall. For Thanos Wins is a bit more serious, but still quite brilliant. I mean, I want to see that as a movie. You got young Thanos, you got King Thanos, you got the Silver Surfer, you got Cosmic Ghost Rider. Brilliant.
Well, I mean, if it's only like one more story with him in, I might give it a go. If he's not like overused.
We'll do it. We'll do it 1 week.
Before we spin the wheel, can we see where the book has come on the leaderboard?
Oh, sure. I'm not the most professional of hosts, of course. So on the leaderboard, I want to show the top 10, because it's going to be on the top 10, of course. It is...
Fourth place.
It's knocked Something is Killing the Children down a peg or two, as it should do.
Do I have 3 books in the top 5?
Yes. But that is only because you purposely pick good books, and I try to pick not so great books to vary the scoreboard.
And I picked books I haven't read yet, so I have no idea if they're good or not.
Listen, we're not keeping score really. Who's keeping score? 3 out of 5.
You are.
You, yeah.
Of course I am. I cannot wait to the end of year season wrap up. Bang on that top 5. That's all mine.
Just for everyone else's reference as well, here's the rest of the leaderboard as well.
Oh, yes. Nameless right at the bottom, where it should be.
Oh, yeah, right, whatever.
I'm sad I have 1 book in that bottom half.
Nameless is the new Doctor Strange.
Well, Doctor Strange was third last.
Oh, it was Witchblade, wasn't it?
No, Secret Wars 2 was the last place book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The Secret Wars 2 got like 2, did it, out of 10 or something along those? I think I scored it a 2.
Something very low.
It was bad.
Wow.
But
right.
Are we good to go, you think? Think we could...
I'm good.
Got some good choices there.
Yeah. So I'll just go through them for the folks listening and watching at home. Chris from Off My Shelves has picked Akira. I will get manga on this club. And to be fair, I would look forward to Akira. Is it left
the Nerd
or right?
Herd Comic Book Club and not the Nerd Herd Manga Book Club.
They are comics. They're just different ones. Connie has picked Hotel Volume 1.
Good
by John
pick.
Reese. I haven't read it, but I've heard a lot of good things about that. Tottenham Gaiman has picked Astonishing X-Men Dangerous.
Ooh, we've not had an X-Men book.
Yes, we have. House of M.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah.
not had a decent X-Men book. Maybe we still won't at this point. But yeah. Bethany is choosing Self-Storage. Maybe this could be the 25th time lucky. Who knows? She seems to pick this every week. I've lost myself here. Triple G Comics has picked Kingdom Come. He's picked it a few times now. Good choice. Liam himself has gone with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volume 1.
Nice.
Another good choice. They really did listen because it's my birthday.
Highland G has said it's a bird. I'm assuming it's a book, or not just a game he's playing. I look out his window or something. It's a bird, so I assume it's a book.
Yeah.
Blue Sonic has picked Radiant Black Volume 1.
Nice.
And Cable's Lost Sun has picked Onslaught.
Great.
So are they all in the little spinning wheel?
They are ready to go.
Do you want to take control and do your thing?
Okie dokie. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Oh, actually, should I shuffle it a few times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's go again. Right.
Slide
Good
1,
luck.
slide 10, slide 20.
Good luck, everyone. Here we go.
Spin, 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 spin. Something good, something good.
Oh, Beth.
Ooh.
Ooh.
There we go. So Cable's Lost Son, you have won the Herd's Choice. If you go ahead and send us your address, we will gladly send you some Herd swag. Congratulations. And you also have the option of joining us on next week's show if you'd so wish to talk about the book you have chosen. So
Yeah.
there we go.
And that's
Birthday wishes are mandatory.
Because Cable's Lost Son has only just found us
I
recently.
know. You found
And
us
now
last week.
he's going to potentially appear on the show. Fantastic. You don't have to, no pressure, of course, but we will be reading Onslaught regardless. So thanks very much for that pick. I think the only thing I kind of want to talk about before we end the show is kind of give a, as we used to do old school community shout outs. Remember that? And I want to give some out today. And the first one being, I couldn't find a link for the live show for tomorrow, but this is the link to Geeky Guy Comics YouTube channel. They do a live every Thursday around 9 p.m. Called the Killer Comic Show. You've got Andy, who's in the chat tonight, Charlie, and Tom. And they talk about comics out the previous week and what to look out for going forward. And that's there a link, hopefully, if it sends. It's not sending. Is a link to their channel. So check them guys out. Scott, I think you have a shout out as well.
I do have a shout out. So some of you might know I appeared on This Week in Metropolis last night. It was a really good laugh. Speaking with James and Matt, finally, because these two guys managed to get on their show quite a while ago, and I couldn't make it. So it was time that I appeared. So I was really happy with that. So I am linking their Instagram page because they are a podcast, and you can find all of their links on there as well. So they're on YouTube, and they're on all of the podcast networks as well. So yeah, go ahead and check them out as well.
So folks, that's us. Thanks everyone for watching us live. Thanks everyone for listening to the podcast or watching the replay. We will see you next week where we will be reading Onslaught. And look forward to it. Hopefully it's good. Just one last thing to do. What could that be? It has 5 of these, 5 wee digits. Get your waves out.
Hey. See you everyone. Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Bye.